You have to start, because I only know how to do it after Shaun does.
Oh, okay. This is the 100th episode.
It is the 100th episode of FIC. And as a 100th guest in, we've got, we replaced Shaun with Shaun to kind of tie into the Breaking the Fourth Wall podcast. So if you watch this and you haven't heard the podcast, if you listen to him, you can decide whether or not you feel like listening to it.
I'm pretty amazing, so I think you should listen to it.
If you watch this, there's really no accounting for taste. So it's not like
it has the other show. It has the other.
It's not like there's anything worse than my show.
The other Shaun's on it sometimes. He just hasn't been on it in a while.
He hasn't been on this in a while.
No, that's true.
He's a rambling man. He's a wanderer.
He is.
But all right. So let's dive right in. We never actually. All right. Tell them who the hell you are.
I'm Shaun Cobble. Hi.
I'm Sebastian from Invest Comics, and this is FIC. All right, now I know how to start. All right, so before we grab the books, let's talk some Superman. All right, I got my shirt. I'm always in my watch. If you've seen the show before, you know that a lot of my shirts seem to be S themed. I'm a big Superman fan, and Man of Steel was okay. I know there's a lot of people out there it's been polarizing. Oh, I hated Man of Steel. Oh, I loved Man of Steel. It was the worst movie ever. It was the greatest movie ever. It was an okay movie ever.
I really liked it. I think on my Facebook I said it was a really great movie. Until it became a really terrible Superman movie.
And I heard it in your head, because in my head I heard it in your voice, because the way you say terrible.
Yeah. It is true. It's like it has a lot of good points about it. If you're a real stickler to Superman, the more that you're a fan of classic Superman, the less you're probably going to like this movie. If you just want to see a somewhat semblance of a Superman going out and whooping up on bad guys, then it's awesome.
Oh yeah. If you like superhero fights, this is your movie.
Yeah. If you like wanton destruction, this is your movie. I still really like it, and I'm trying to separate my fanboy comic love from movies anymore, because I'm never going to have the perfect comic movie. So when I first left the movie, I was very disappointed. Like I literally called bull several times in the movie. I elbowed my wife a few times. I was like, no. And she was like, okay. She has no clue. She reads comics and stuff, but she's not like a classic Superman fan. But the further I get away from it, the more I enjoy the movie for what it was. It was fun.
Yeah, I didn't even have some people like, oh, he would never do that. I don't care about this. The big controversial ending of would he do that or wouldn't he do that? It's not a controversy to me. I'm sort of good either way. I think his reaction to they sort of made it like he had no choice. I think there were several choices. I think they didn't do much with Superman's super speed, and I think had they added that factor, if Clark had used super speed at all, I think we could have changed the movie at several different points. I think we could have had a different result for the whole Smallville aspect. Pa can't constantly, Clark, you can't let them see you do this stuff. Most of the time, one of the gimmicks of Superman is he can move fast enough that you won't see him doing this stuff. It's, hey, that fell. Oh, it's sitting on the table. I guess it didn't fall. You can do that.
That especially stood out because I read a lot of my favorite old Superman stories. Not even old, but favorite Superman stories right before I went and saw the movie. And one of the last things I read right before was Red Sun. And from the beginning in Red Sun, he does a lot of that, like when he's sitting, when he's sitting next to or sitting with Stalin's son, and Stalin's son is like shooting at a scarecrow out in the distance, and every time he shoots the head off of it, you blink and Superman's back and the head's back on, and it's just like that constant kind of stuff like that.
Exactly.
And it made it very poignant to that.
Ultimately, I think there was a lot of good stuff and and I'm okay with he looked like Superman, he spoke like Superman. I'm okay with the change in Lois and Clark dynamic. I'm okay with this.
He looked great as Superman.
Because they only used her for 11.3 seconds. I don't have a problem with Jenny Olsen versus Jimmy Olsen. But
I didn't even catch up. I totally forgot about that part. I was like, "Where's Jimmy?" Oh, that's her. Never mind.
The whole thing didn't, it just didn't come together for me as a great package. It was like you had all the ingredients to make like an ultimate soup, except broth. So this is really good food, but it's not soup. And I think that's where I stand.
It was stone soup.
Now, speaking of things that are polarizing, here let's start with this.
Great.
Have you read Superior Spider-Man lately?
You insult me, sir.
I like it.
I'm gonna give it another shot. My biggest problem with it was the stupid Ghost Peter.
They got rid of... See, and I say this every time we read anything, you know, on this show, anytime we review anything with Superior Spider-Man in it, I always preface with the fact that I'm still a huge Peter Parker fan, and I want Peter Parker to come back. And I know that Dan Slott likes to put himself on the internet yelling out, you know, Peter Parker's dead, and he's not coming back. And that's great, but it's a shared universe, and eventually, you know, whether it's 2 months from now or, you know, 10 years from now, at one point, Dan Slott will not be writing this, and someone else will say, "Hey, I got an idea. I want to do the bringing back of Peter Parker." And people will say, "No, you can't. That would never work." And then someone will do it, and it'll be a big deal.
I'll say Dan Slott doesn't own Disney. We'll do what we want.
Or someone at Disney will read the book and go, "Wait, what? Didn't we just buy Peter Parker for a bajillion dollars?"
See, when I was reading the end of Amazing Spider-Man, I liked the concept. I thought it was cool. I don't have a problem with the Doc Ock thing. I thought it was cool. Just the Ghost Peter was really cheesy. I didn't like it. And also, he's very unlikable. Doc Ock is a very unlikable.
I'm loving this. I mean, all of that other stuff aside, I'm loving the story. Dan Slott can write the hell out of this, and I enjoy not liking Doc Ock Spidey, and I enjoy watching him be completely surprised by, you know, the way, not only the ways he's better than, you know, he is superior to Peter in certain ways, but also in the ways that it never occurred to him that he's not. And he's like, oh, and like, you know, and he'll have these little moments of, oh, I didn't think that, oh, Parker would have done that, or just little things, and it's really well written, and it's a lot of fun, and I think I probably would have been one of the people who hated this had they not done, you know, Brand New Day and killed Spidey for me anyway, you know, several years ago. So this, I'm like, you're already been up, you can't break it now. I'm like, so, and this has been really, really good. I've also said, and I say it, another thing I say every time, I'm kind of like a broken record, is that I just think, you know, Dan Slott writes it really well. I just think his constant, you know, he eggs people on, and I get, you know, that's cool. I egg people on too. I'm kind of a jerk, but then I'm not shocked later when people get really mad at me for egging them on. And Dan Slott always is. He's always, I killed him. Oh, you're going to be so mad at me with this next issue. Oh, internet's going to hate me. I better go into hiding. You're going to be so mad. And then they get mad, and he's posting, I can't believe you guys are so mad. I'm like, well, you told them they were going to be.
The death threats were a little much. But yeah, I mean, people are going to be mad.
You know, don't kill anybody over their changes in comics. It's just a general rule. Don't kill creators.
They're going to do it in the movies?
Or, you know, I would watch the hell out of a Superior Spider-Man movie. I love this. I almost hate, I don't even hate to say it anymore. I do hate to say that I don't hate to say that I love the Superior Spider-Man.
But what about the upcoming, all the offshoots of Superior that are coming out, like the Superior
that's just Marvel doing what they do. Ooh, something worked. Let's do 50 bajillion of it. That'll be Superior Spider-Man's undoing. Will be that people will be sick of it by the time, you know, Superior Carnage, Superior Foes of Spider-Man, Superior this, Superior, you know, you're going to have, you know,
everything's going to either have Guardians,
Superior
Avenger, or Superior in
it. Superior Forbish Man, you know. But
Superior was one.
And where do you go from Superior Spider-Man? You go right to Vibe. Are you reading this?
I haven't read this issue yet, but I do like the book. I think it's really good.
Oh, this book is so good. And this, it picks up with Vibe on the Run. It's Vibe and Gypsy on the run from artists.
Sorensen's not here, so somebody's acting out of school today.
I don't even know if he'll watch. Shaun didn't watch last time because he said, "Oh, you had Javier on," so he didn't watch it.
Javier before anybody else did. You're cool. You're a hipster.
But this is so good, and
anybody that's given this book crap isn't giving it a shot.
Yeah,
I know it's a weird character that didn't work before.
You said the same thing about Aquaman, and that book was great.
This book is good. It's solid. It's one of the few things DC I think is not messing up right now.
And I think you know, it wasn't even, you know, sometimes okay in your own book if you're Vibe and you're going to fight the Suicide Squad, most people think Vibe wouldn't stand, you know, wouldn't last 10 seconds against the Suicide Squad, but it's his own book, so it's right. But no, it's written. Is Sterling Gates writing this at the moment? Yeah, Sterling Gates has written this so well that it's Vibe and Gypsy versus Suicide Squad, and there's a guy who may as well, he's not in the Suicide Squad book, he's on the team for this mission. He may as well have been wearing like a Star Trek red shirt and a sign that said temporary disposable Suicide Squad member. He's Crowbar. Uh-oh, he looked like, something out of Marvel from the 70s. And, but yeah.
Like a Wrecking Crew recap.
Yeah,
Nice.
He's like Wrecking Crew cosplay. Hanging around with Harley Quinn, King Shark, and Deadshot. No, it's basically King Shark, Deadshot, and Harley. But no, these two are able to convince. They lose. Don't get me wrong, they don't win, but they are convincingly able to hold their own and do much better than you would think they would.
You see the back? Sebastian, why do you hate me?
For the last damn time, I don't hate
you. In case you didn't know, Sebastian does not hate Superman, does not hate Man of Steel. He did not hate the movie.
I enjoyed most of it. I just wanted to love it all, and I couldn't. You read this?
No, I've not been reading that book at all.
This is so good.
Here I have to. Here it's
and Bendis, okay, in the regular Marvel universe, somebody, Bendis can write 28 books at a time. He's Bendis. He does that. Bendis.
Most of them he writes well.
And Bendis wrote the best Cloak and Dagger in like the past, I'm gonna go with 20 years. and there've been a couple of here and there high moments for Cloak and Dagger. But this was really, really good. And you've still got...
do I have to read any other Ultimate stuff to read this?
No, because I don't.
Because I don't want to read
occasionally, they did at one point like a crossover, but I didn't have to... And Shaun and I found quickly that we didn't need to read any of it to really...
Because Jared was telling me yesterday that it's really well done.
Yeah, this is awesome. And
really, the only thing that's kept me away from it is all the other Ultimate stuff that I'm not caught up on, so I didn't want to go and jump in.
And I love Miles Morales. At this point, apparently that's my thing. You replace SpiderMan, I'll read a book. Kill Peter and replace him with somebody, I'm in.
Well, there you go.
That's my criteria. But this is so good.
And then there's this.
And there's Age of Ultron, which I also want to point out. It came polybagged, okay? Mm-hmm. This is the variant. It says variant on the bag.
So technically, if you buy the variants and you want to keep them, most people that buy variants are buying it for the collectability. So if you want to buy it, you're going to buy a polybag book. You're never going to see the cover.
There's a cover on there that's different than this, but you can go CGC this.
There's like 5 covers, right? Like
but yeah, I want to be the guy, at CGC going, I don't know how the fuck do I grade this. I don't know how that works. I know.
They're great.
I know Jay and some of the other Invest Comics crew. Talked to you interviewed some of the CGC guys. I want another interview. I want to see.
I'm curious too.
How do you CGC? I guess it's not mint anymore if you take it out of the bag. But how do you grade it?
Now I've got a signature series graded Warren Ellis book that came, one of the Avatar books that comes with a certificate of authenticity that usually comes bagged, and it's actually the certificate is outside of the slab, like it's out of the bag and graded, and the certificate comes separate with it. So maybe they rip it open. But then fanboys already freaked out about CGC anyway. So.
See, I bought it just so I could read it for the review. I wasn't going to open one and put it.
And then once you're done with the bag, you can put it over your head and breathe deeply after reading this book.
And my review is thank you, Marvel, for making me spend $3.99 on a book that ends anticlimactically halfway through, and then the rest of it is just ads for new series coming out that theoretically spin out of this.
Yeah.
Some of them very theoretically.
It's like a previews page for a bunch of what ifs.
I was like, what the hell? And we fixed it! Yay! Okay, done. All right.
That book.
Thank you, Age of Ultron, for being time I will never get back.
Thank you for being a comic book.
Yeah.
You were definitely a comic book.
Time and money I will never get back. Do you read this one?
I love that book.
Do you?
It's
all right, then you can review it. Because
are you not reading it?
I try and read it, and I never.
Oh, it's definitely wacky.
It doesn't hold me, so I never make it through.
And this one has a whole lot of arch enemies head to head. There's a nice little conversation between Namor and Black Panther. There's
are they going to war? Is that what's happening?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is it Atlantis versus Wakanda?
Yeah, that's going to end badly.
Wakanda's not even like on an African coast, right? This is going to be a weird war.
Yeah. Well, no, I guess they are because he caused the tidal wave to pretty much destroy most of Wakanda anyway. But
apparently Namor never studied geography.
There's a nice little dinner scene with Dr. Doom.
Were they able to turn the tide?
Aha, see what you did there. There's Kristoff and Dr. Doom and Doctor Strange and Reed Richards having dinner, which was very interesting.
There's a lot of dinner having in the Marvel Universe lately.
This book is, I've heard this described as a talking head book. It is a lot of talking heads, but it's very interesting talking heads. I like this book a lot. It's what the old Illuminati book should have been, and better.
Because eventually they do get up from the table.
Yeah.
And stuff happens.
There's cool stuff going on.
Consequence.
And Black Panther and Namor, if you want to hear a really stubborn conversation, read them. That is two stubborn, cocky, just bullheaded. I don't even know. I can't even describe it. There's something when they talk, and it's awesome. I love it. This book is just great. It is weird. It also, I think, reads better as a chunk. Reading it issue by issue is kind of tough.
That may be what's killing me.
Yeah, so I would sit back down and read the first 7 over again, and go into it from there. But I love this book. I think it's a lot of fun. It's smart.
And then Uncanny Avengers #9. I'm still liking it. I'm not loving it. Mostly because at this point, I just don't really, I don't think I care. I never cared much about Apocalypse. The only thing I liked about Apocalypse is now that they have him as a kid in like Wolverine and the X-Men, and when he was in Uncanny X-Force, I like Kid Apocalypse, or Genesis, whatever he's calling himself these days, better than I liked Apocalypse. So Apocalypse Twins, 2 times the Apocalypse, I just don't have it in me. But I like Havoc. I don't like any of the 4 Horsemen of Death. Oh no, that's not true. I love Banshee. But I don't like any of the other characters, so I don't care that they're here. I do love the art.
It's a weird book.
Yeah, it is a very strange book, but
well, the first story arc to what's come after, 2 totally different books. Like,
oh yeah,
I didn't care for the first one. I
don't even remember how the first one. Did they resolve it?
No,
did they ever get his brain back?
No, somewhere Red Skull's got Xavier's brain out there. They haven't really talked about that. None of the other X-Men have an issue with this. There's so evidently you can just go dig up brains, stick them on your head, and have their powers. I don't know.
Everyone was mad when they took it, but when they didn't get it back, they were like, "Man."
But no, the second part, like since issue like 6 through 9 now, have been really good. They've been more like the old Remender Uncanny X-Force, which is really good. But it's definitely still a weird book. Avengers has the weird theme going.
Yeah,
the last few months, but good. I like
including here's our Infinity Prelude to Infinity here with Avengers #14, and I'll tell you, the art's good. The art's really good in this particular issue, as a matter of fact.
Those little guys are creepy.
Yeah, they are, and their little faces. I still don't like. Apparently, even this is my hint and a half. If even the artists I like can't make a costume look really good, then I don't like that costume. And
not a Ms. Marvel fan.
I'm a fan of Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, Binary, whatever she's calling herself this particular minute. I just can't like that outfit, mostly because they gave it all the seam. It just looks uncomfortable, and I get moving away from spandex and making more practical uniforms, or at least practical in so much as they look like they could be made in the real world, but it doesn't look any more practical to wear, and it looks uncomfortable.
I take it you're not reading her book.
I was, and then I stopped.
I really like it. I think it's a good. But she is an odd character, and they keep trying to shoot her in various things, and they're really focusing on her. They're doing that.
Well, mostly I'm just happy.
Thing now.
I'm just happy with this because Sunspot and Cannonball are Avengers, and this makes me really happy. Although my favorite part of this particular book, Shaun and I discussed the one time we loved the Cannonball, Sunspot, and the Hydra agents in Vegas.
Yes,
but in this,
great.
The Hydra guy explaining why he did the test. What'd you do? Well, I thought I got an idea because my wife sings to her sings to the baby. We're pregnant, and he doesn't. He's a Hydra agent. He doesn't even say the Hydra AIM.
They're AIM.
They're AIM in the Beehive elements, right? So the AIM agent is like he's big super science terrorist group going. well, we're pregnant. And he uses the we.
I don't think anybody's ever given AIM agents a personality before, and there's like,
and now they have an excess. It's like,
they remind me of the Monarch's henchmen on Venture Brothers. They're like a bunch of Monarch henchmen that you really
yeah, they are,
and they're fun. They're awesome. That book is fun. It's crazy out there. It's Hickman. Of course, it's crazy out there.
I keep not wanting to read these, and then I keep picking them up. This is A+X.
See, that's very similar to me. I keep wanting to not read them, and then I don't.
but no, this issue I picked it up because.
Is that an ongoing, or are they?
It's ongoing or whatever.
Really?
The Captain America Wolverine story wasn't great. It was okay at the end. It eventually, both stories in this have Doctor Strange featured, but not as one of the main players, as it were. But so you have.
You're so hood.
Yeah, from the mean streets of the Marvel cities. I could be on Mighty Avengers.
Oh God!
I'm so urban.
But bitch.
but yeah, Cap and Wolvie have like a dynamic that I don't think. I think Wolvie would have a little more respect for Cap. I get that, the back and forth, and they're clearly two different personality types, but I think it was overplayed. I think Wolvie would have a little more respect for Cap than he does in this issue, and I think Cap wouldn't, while he would not approve and would reprimand, chastise, and bark orders at Wolverine, I don't think he would condescend him quite the way that
they understand each other. They work together enough over the years.
I get they were trying to go for that natural look, these two have, but it didn't come across that way. It didn't work as well for me. But really, I got this I read this for the second story anyway, because Doctor Strange plus Quentin Quire, Pixie, and iBoy.
Wow.
It was awesome. What was happening was
David Lapham's writing that?
Oh yeah, it's David Lapham wrote that, and I don't know who Lee Loveridge is on the colors, but Lapham wrote and drew it, and the colors are gorgeous. And ultimately, what it boils down to is Quentin Quire and Pixie have a bet that they will be the first one to steal an artifact they break into Doctor Strange's house, his Sanctum Sanctorum, and they're going to steal an artifact. iBoy, they bring along, he's the witness because he's iBoy, and he's gonna. Wow. And the bet is, but along the way, iBoy stumbles into a room and finds despair is just like sucking the soul out of Doctor Strange. Wow. And they have to save him, and then they do, and iBoy ends up sort of the hero.
Yeah, just a single story.
Oh yeah, it is the best, one of the best stories ever. I know when Shaun's here, all he talks about is he doesn't like the Wolverine and the X-Men stories that don't have to do with the school. He likes the ones. This would be one of the ones he'd love. This would be a story for him.
All right, I might read it.
Just read the second story. You can skip the first one. All right, Red Hood and the Outlaws number 21. I'm going to assume you don't read it.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, see, I've only been trying to read it because it's James Tynion, and I like him. And I still like him, but again, this suffers from what happens when you've broken the toy box too much, that a good writer can play with the toys, but they're still broken toys, all right? And although this issue gets away from the main cast for the most part, so you've got...
Very Ghost Rider first page.
You've got Roy Harper hanging out with... He's being psycho-evaluated by Hugo Strange, who apparently... The world in the New 52 at large does not realize that he's a Bat villain, so you just spill your guts to him like you do. I'm liking Bronze Tiger, and there's a major change in the now mind-wiped Jason Todd Red Hood. Finds out why he's being sought after by basically the entire League of Assassins and what they want out of him.
Is Bronze Tiger recurring in this book, or is he just...
He's just started appearing. He was in last issue and this one.
He was one of my favorite Suicide Squad characters.
I know, and in this issue, they've been only doing him with the Tiger Head, so I was very happy to see that at one point he turns back and explains the transformation process. So I'm kind of happy with the return of Bronze Tiger. It's better than it's much better than this book has been, because James Tynion writes better than Lobdell, and it's.
Of course.
And it's on its way. So the further they get away from what was going on before and into their own things, I think the better this will be. Aminal Man.
Aminal Man.
Number 21. I assume you read this one.
I love that book.
This is so good. I didn't make it through the issue before because I forgot to pull it. And then when I tried to read it here, there was a lot of art that I didn't like and a lot of word bubbles that I just couldn't do. I was like, whoa, I don't have time to read all of this. But I read this and don't feel like I missed much. I was able to just, if you haven't been reading it before. Also, Jeff Lemire, congratulations on being the first comic writer to ever do one of these kind of, they all do this Twitter, MySpace, Facebook looking pages because that's the way the world goes now. So that would be happening. But he's the first one to do it where I actually felt like I was on one of those pages as opposed to I was reading someone thinking they were clever. This worked. The people hating each other and the one guy who insults people but ends everything with God bless. It's like
that's true. That's pretty accurate.
And I was like, this was really, because I've seen it before, but this is the first time that it really, really worked. And yeah, I'm loving Animal Man.
I kind of wish they would figure out the direction they're going to go and stick with it, though. It's been kind of
that's
schizophrenic.
That's not even limited to New 52 Animal Man. That's just Animal Man. Yeah. That's the curse of Animal Man. I miss the old costume still. I can't. I don't like this blue and white thing. It just looks so drab and generic. And although I do like Animal Girl,
yeah,
I do like Maxine's variant of the costume. And
it suits her. It looks a little creepy on him.
Yeah. Well, she's even got, I think, better sleeves than he does. Well, I don't know because they kept the jacket, but the jacket looks unnecessary over the all blue anyway. So
I've never liked that kind of weird mask thing. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't cover your hair or your face, just everything else. It's okay.
It's the costume that Havoc used to wear in like the 90s, and he's like, ah.
It's like the superhero costume version of a visor. I don't understand it.
And Mark Waid and Matteo Scalera on Indestructible Hulk #9. You reading this?
I love that book.
Oh, I love this book.
I miss Walt
Have you been
Simonson
reading
already.
Daredevil?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, so this, it ties in and makes perfect sense for a tie-in beyond the, hey, I write both of these books, let me tie this in. No, this is well thought out, and that's we finally get the mysterious contingency plan that Banner's had. He's got to call somebody every day or every week that he calls in.
I think it's every week.
Every week he calls in and says, nope, S.H.I.E.L.D. hasn't launched me into the sun. I'm okay. And who's he calling? His lawyer. And if you're the Hulk, who's your lawyer? Daredevil.
I like at the beginning, like, what are you doing? You're not calling somebody and talking about S.H.I.E.L.D.,
You're not, is that a cell phone? No, this is a new kind of phone. I just invented
it, and I can
Here,
still
have
talk.
One.
This book is so fun.
Then, and the fact that Daredevil is able to sweet talk, the Hulk, remember that's murder. We talked about murder. You got through to him. Yeah, well, he responds to tone, and you suck. So he doesn't listen to you. It's Mark Waid. It's perfect.
Is Scalera going to be the ongoing, or are they kind of bouncing around still?
I don't know, but as long as they keep with everybody doing like a certain, this I think worked because it was a style that worked better for the Daredevil appearances because I'm loving everything they do over on Daredevil.
I love the Walt Simonson stuff. That was that was fantastic.
It was Walt Simonson on classic Thor. Yeah. So really, what was not?
Did you see what Walt Simonson's doing next?
No.
Walt Simonson and Tom DeFalco were doing Archie.
That can happen.
I'm going to pick it up. I have to.
I don't know how I live in this world.
I got to read it.
All right. Green Lantern, New Guardians, The Quest Begins. You read this one?
No, not yet.
I bought it because I wanted a ring.
So is it a white ring?
No, that would make sense. It was the indigo ring. Which, since I'm colorblind, I could have just taken 2 blue rings and not looked closely.
Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't work on me. The art in this is gorgeous. The story is okay. I'm not sure. I'm gonna give the Green Lanterns, the various Green Lantern books, a couple issues to go with, and then oddly, I think at that moment, the only one I wasn't really reading at all. Well, I was reading this and Red Lanterns, but I was buying the other 2, Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps. But I think I'm only going to end up staying on Red Lanterns, not because I want to, but because that's where Guy Gardner's going to be.
I gotta at least give it a
but,
shot.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like Justin Jordan though.
Oh yeah, I love Justin Jordan and I love Robert Venditti, but the problem is I was kind of hoping that maybe things would slow down a little and we'd get some more actual. But we're just diving right. This is the one that introduces
Relic.
Relic or whatever. And I don't know. And then they got the lights out thing, and I don't know.
They need to slow down. I miss just some good old fashioned one shot Green Lantern.
I want a story I can read and go, oh, that was a cool Green Lantern. I don't know if I.
The problem is no one is policing the universe. It's always a giant cosmic event, and no one is policing anywhere in the universe. If you just want to be a cosmic bad dude that just goes and like steals
basically
starships, go for it. No one's going to stop you.
The Green Lantern Corps of the New 52 is like the X-Men of the late 80s, early 90s, where everything was X-Men take care of their own. But really, the X-Men weren't superheroes. They hung around at the mansion and waited for someone to either attack them or to hurt a mutant. And that's what the lanterns do, of all the different colors, is you have to come deliberately to Oa and be like, we're going to take you out. And then they'll all fight you. Or this corps is in trouble. We should all rally together. But that's it. If you do anything else, I'm killing worlds over here. Okay, Brainiac, putting things in a jar. Green Lanterns, reading a magazine. You didn't come to Oa. We don't care.
And God forbid to go to Earth because there's 17 Green Lanterns there. I want to see the Dark Stars back. I want them. I love them. I want Dark Stars.
I don't even have...
I want it. Come on. No one's policing the universe. Put them out there.
We could kill two birds with one stone.
They could be like the meter maids of the universe.
They could introduce Donna Troy as solely a Dark Star and call it a day. The world could get their Donna Troy. It should be a Dark Star.
I'm down.
We can get. All right, we're in. The end of XFactor Part 2. This was so good. We're building in towards the end, and basically every issue or two is going to focus on a specific character, is what Peter David's doing, and showing them where they go. This is Rain Sinclair, Wolfsbane, who just lost her son to Guido. That's right. Guido killed her little boy so that he could become... He did a necessary evil to do an unnecessary evil to do an unnecessary good. Guido loves Monet. Monet died. Monet is mad at Guido, but Guido is all about that unrequited love. Guido kills. Guido had killed, this is before this isn't part of this story. Guido killed Rain's son because that's what you had to do to inherit the throne of hell. Guido is now the ruler of hell. Strong guy. Ruler of hell. And he did this because that gave him the power to bring Monet back. It doesn't bring him the power, and he explains he's in this issue, and he tells Rain, he's like, I did it. I'm not proud of it. I can't take it back. Nothing I do is ever going to make that up to you. I did it so I could bring Rain back. I'd bring your son back if I could, but there are rules that won't let me, you can't become king of hell by killing someone and then bring that someone back. That would,
But I'm sure you've got some pretty heavy influence as a King of Hell. You could probably find someone else to bring him back in some roundabout way if you really want. I mean, it is Marvel.
It's a Marvel universe, yeah. Nobody's dead for too long anyway. But this was really good. It also features John Madrox, the dupe that Jamie let stay out, and is married and is a preacher in I forget where. And she goes to him because Rain's always had a strong spiritual belief, and she goes to him for guidance and comfort. And since at the moment Jamie Madrox is running around with no mouth and a kind of demon face, he's not very comforting. So she goes to this. And it was a really, really good story, and I'm going to be so heartbroken when this ends. The only thing that's going to be sadder to me than Peter David's X-Factor ending is going to be when someone who's not Peter David tries to do anything with these characters. Oh, well, they're free now. Let's put them on a team and write them badly.
When they do West Coast X-Factor?
Yeah. I'm just going to... My heart's going to break.
I might, since these are individuals, I might have to read this. I've been reading it in story arcs. I've been reading whole story arcs, and it's really good.
When Kieran Gillen puts them in a book...
God.
I'm just gonna cry.
That's really good. I might pick these up individually because I've been reading everything in chunks. So it's a really good book. I've been sad to see it go, but since these are like kind of one-offs, I might do that.
I forgot how long your podcasts go. This is gonna be a 2-hour
episode. We have to trim down the podcast every week to get it in a 2-hour slot. Sometimes I just don't care. I just let it run.
Wonder Woman, awesome.
I love this
Always
book.
Awesome. Continues to be awesome. It's just, and new gods, and so good. And you get, this is the first time in the history of ever that Highfather is drawn in a way that makes there be no mistake whose dad he is.
Yeah.
You know, and he also looks like he's not old frail Highfather. This is a Highfather who looks like if he needed to, and it's like, oh, so
I love the art in this
Dark
book.
Side, you're here. You know,
Yeah.
this is a Highfather who looks like, you know, I have to go punch Dark Side in the face, that's good.
And the art is just Kirby enough to.
Oh yeah,
But modern enough to just fit the new gods.
I mean, I love Cliff Chang anyway, but his new gods, especially that last page, made me think. I was like, wow, if Chris Sprouse inked Jack Kirby, we'd have Cliff Chang right here because that was just gorgeous.
It's amazing.
And so good.
I love that he calls his little whatever the thing he rides on, the little sled he rides on, baby.
Stop calling me baby. You're not baby. Your legs. It's also,
I don't understand why people that like Wonder Woman don't like traditional Wonder Woman don't like this book. It's great.
This book is awesome. And yeah, Brian Azzarello writes the single greatest Orion in the history of ever.
He's such a dick. I love it.
Supergirl's dying.
Yay!
And as a result, her social skills were lacking anyway, so she goes to her only friend, who I'm going to simply call Silver Banshee, because I don't speak Irish and Gaelic, so I can't pronounce that name that is actually one of the more common names to see for...
It's Siobhan.
See? I knew you'd be able to do it. And I was like, Siobhan.
Or Siobhan. Either way.
You know,
I mean.
which is how half of... I know I'm like, I know that this is one of those where the letters are not the way I'm pronouncing them, but I didn't know how to say it. But it's
next time you're in Ireland, just walk by any pub and go, which one of you potato eaters is Siobhan, and see how that works out for you.
I'll just get my little ass kicked and go on home. But,
I don't know, you might be popular just for having the gall to do that.
Look, Siobhan sounds like a channel. It's like one of those where you watch sports on. You know,
isn't
you get Siobhan?
Isn't Salvador Gigante on there?
It might be. But Michael Nelson, this is like his second or third issue. He's already got the feel of the book down. He's got a feel for the character. It's good. It has its serious. It has its funny. It's really well done.
The third person name on there is Richard Bonk. Richard Bonk.
Yeah, Bonk.
I want my name to be Bonk.
That's awesome. It's a good name if you're gonna. Some names like lend themselves to certain careers. If you're gonna work in comics, that's a good.
I wonder
name.
if he goes by Dick Bonk.
If your name is an if your name's an onomatopoeia, comic books might be the medium for you.
That's a great cover.
It is. It was an okay issue. It is a great cover.
Who did the cover? Is it the regular artist? Is it?
I don't know. Cover is by Gleason, Gray, and Khalees.
I like it.
It's continuing the Batman with his rotating cast of who's his sidekick for the day while he's dealing with the loss of.
Is it as weird as the first couple, like with the Frankenstein and all that? Like that was fun. I liked it. A lot of people didn't. I thought it was fun, but it was real.
This one was less weird and more angry. He's just pissed, and at the time, it's tying in with Batgirl because she thinks she killed her brother. She doesn't feel worthy of the bat, so she's torn the bat off, and she doesn't know if she's going to keep being Batgirl.
Does she have a bat-shaped Power Girl window on the front?
Nah, depending on who's drawing it, there's like a seam where you can see where the bat was, but it's not there. And of course, Batman doesn't bother asking any questions. He's pissed. He goes, "I see you're not wearing the bat. Good. You don't be part of my family. I don't care." And she's like, "It's not like that. It's like," and he goes, "Don't want to hear it. Killing people. Could have saved my son. Wish I did. Bang bang, punch punch." And
so this is the anger stage issue.
Yeah, but it was a good. Tomasi did a good job of. He's clearly been paying attention to what Simone's doing over in Batgirl, and he had a good inner voice and a nice comparison of her sense of loss for her brother versus his sense of loss for his son. So that was nice. Are these together? No. Here we go. All right. Six Gun.
I'm so behind on this book.
Just give you the usual. Here you go. Six Gun and Six Gun, Sons of the Gun, number 4. Six Gun, awesome. Oh my God, awesome.
Speaking of Jared, I need one of these. Can you order me one? Thank you.
Get him one of those. Other Shaun was confused by the last panel. The last page of the issue before this has a castle and dragons. It's all explained as she's still going through different times and different worlds because that's what these weapons do. When they all get together, you can end and recreate the world. So she's either still vision walking or kind of vision questing, or somehow transported in. She's seeing worlds that used to be, and apparently one of the constants is Drake. There's a Black Knight who, when he takes off his mask, she goes, Drake, and he's like, how do you know my name? And apparently he's yes, Drake the rapper is Drake Sinclair is one of the main characters who apparently his fate is tied to these weapons throughout the whole time. This was really, really good. This focuses on, I don't know his name. Tell me right there.
I'm reading this by trade, so I'm not caught up.
Right, this is Silas Bitterridge Hedgepeth, the Abe Lincoln looking guy, who ends up going through. There's a town with a plague, and he starts out trying to help because he was a doctor before he became one of the hell gun wielders, and he's trying to basically atone. And when he realizes he can't do it, his version of atoning, he's got that. Let's suffice it to say, when he finds that people are still dying in pain, and the only way he could think of to end their pain is to help them die quickly and cleanly. Remember, he's also got the gun that has the power to, you kill people, you can bring them back as clay and mud. So suffice it to say, eventually things go askew, but it's so good. You read this?
No, I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait till it finishes out and read it all at once.
I read it just because I've only ever read the first trade of 100 Bullets.
So good.
So and I loved it, but it's I've got so many other things that I haven't picked up any of the other trades.
It's a long read, man.
But I also figured that because that's all I've read, it's not like I don't know who this character is. If there's anything being spoiled for me, I don't know it. But what I also know is it's Azzarello and Rizzo, and you can put them on anything, and it's just worth it. And this was really, it's exactly what you expect from the two of them. Super solid storytelling, lots of violence and cursing and nudity, and holy crap, they just did that moments. And
did Dave Johnson do the cover?
And it was just so good.
He did all the covers for 100 Bullets, so I'm assuming he probably did this
maybe.
one too.
And in this, we were talking about this earlier. This is Captain Midnight #0, collecting the 3 parts from Dark Horse Presents and launching into the Captain Midnight mini. So good. I've said before that a lot of comics are doing the thing where they were a character in the 40s and they've jumped through to today, and how do they handle it? A lot of comics are doing that. Not all of them are doing it in a way that I like it. This takes it and owns it and just makes it work, and they just do it very matter-of-factly, and it's well done.
Is it Black Beetle good?
Yeah.
Black Beetle is fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's. I still like Black Beetle better, but yeah, this is on a Black Beetle level of good. It's a very different book, but it's a Black Beetle level of good.
I have this at home. I'll be reading it when I get home tonight.
Birds of Prey #21. I'm still liking Birds of Prey. We get a little more on Condor, which is good because I like him. I still don't know if he's supposed to be the new 52 equivalent of Black Condor. But
does he look anything similar?
He's a guy in a suit with wings, and it turns out he's Native American under there. So, possibly. But this also has Strix versus Talon. You've got Talon versus Talon over here. And it's really well done, and it gets a lot to them. Christy Marks writes a good story. The dialogue is a bit rough and clunky at parts, but the story's good enough that I'm able to get past. There's a lot of people saying things that I don't think people would say. They're getting their point across more like narration than like oration, and it gets a little clunky and unwieldy. But I'm willing to forgive it because I already like this book and I like these characters, and there you go. You read this.
I love that book. It's one of my favorite things on the show.
Revival #11. This is only up to #11. I'd swear I've read like 20 of these.
There's way more. You get way more than an issue with a story in every one. It's so good.
It's so good, and the art is gorgeous, and
the covers are amazing. I love Jenny Frisson's art. She's
the characters are so they're very real. They're very well done. Like you get
that mean old one-eyed dude at the beginning.
There's just a mean old raises.
I think I'm related to that guy.
And the cops just like, look, I don't have time for you. I gotta get this guy to a hospital, but whatever. Bloodshot #12 and Harbinger 13. Oh,
if it's Valiant, read it.
I love it. They're so good. I am just waiting at this point for them to realize. I want the kids to get together because the Harbinger group is protecting half of the Sayat kids from Harada. Bloodshot is protecting the other half. However, what this half doesn't know is this half still only knows Bloodshot as what they call the Sayat killer, the guy who goes around, kills people, and steals Sayat kids. So, while they're both trying to protect the same kids, this group of kids is terrified of him. So you've got the Harbinger kids, the rebels fighting Bloodshot. The rebels are wearing Harbinger uniforms. So the other kids, nobody suspects that either side is actually good guys. So they're trying to do the same thing with the same ends and should be great allies, and are probably going to kill each other.
And man, Bloodshot goes through it in this issue too,
oh yeah,
man. That dude.
And then you get a little more with the some Bloodshot-y flashback origin-y stuff going on, and he spends still half of this issue with his face peeled back from his Harada fight.
Yeah, that Harada fight was
and it doesn't seem to bother him. So that tells you what a badass.
This has been a really, really good crossover. This Harbinger Wars is the way that you should do a crossover. Joshua Dysart, I'm not sure you pronounce the last name. He is great.
Oh, it's just all awesome stuff. All right, over we get some Dynamite. I get Warlord of Mars, Deja Thoris. I'm very happy because Carlos Raphael is on art for this issue, and I love him. He's got that very Frank Cho style, and it's just gorgeous. And the girl who does it sometimes tries to do his style, but isn't as good at it. So the art's good, and Robert Napton writes a great story. So this was a really good issue, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this story. This series, depending on who's doing it, goes like meh to woo, meh to woo. I mean, at the moment we're at the beginning of a woo arc, so that's good.
Yay woo, woo man.
Game of Thrones. You already know you love Game of Thrones, or you don't care. So if you're not a Game of Thrones person,
Hodor?
Yeah, Hodor. I don't know if Hodor is in this one.
Hodor.
This one is very Danny heavy, and it's funny because between the books and the show, I'm so far past this that when I get back, I forget that this is. Oh wow, we're still way the hell back there. Ned's alive.
Oh wow,
that's how far back we are.
Oh, so this is still.
Yeah, this is the one where Danny's brother gets crowned.
Oh, that's a good one though.
And the art on this is really good, and it's a really good adaptation, and the characters are drawn not with them just taking the characters, the actors who play them and trying to draw them. They're really based a little more on the characterization as described in the books, and I like that. So
what issue is this? What number?
This is number 15, but they've got hardcovers and trades, so you can go get all that. Evil Ernie number 6, not really my thing.
It's just rehashing the same old Evil Ernie that's
more or less, and it's just not really doing much for me. Green Hornet Legacy. For a while, this book was floundering as far as I was concerned. And again, if you're just tuning in, it's now called Legacy because Mark Waid is doing original Green Hornet, and this is the son of the Green Hornet in the now. And so this is Green Hornet Legacy. It's really picked back up, and it's gotten solid again. And at this point, he's accepted the fact that his father was a really great newsman who vented the problems he couldn't solve as a newsman by being the Green Hornet. He realizes he's not really cut out to be the newsman his father is, and at this point he's immersing himself. He's like, I'm a really great vigilante who sometimes has to go and print something to make people aware of the problems I can't handle with my fist. So he's become like almost full-time Green Hornet, and since Kato and her father are missing, presumed dead, in this one he teams up with one of the girls he fought a while back, and they make an interesting duo. This may be the Catwoman to his Batman, and because she's not a good guy, but
like
she
real
has
Catwoman or the stuff that they're writing now.
Like real,
good Catwoman.
Yeah. And then Liberator from Black Mask. I read this. I believe this is a mini. It's a bit choppy, and the story kind of, for me, it didn't flow 100% smoothly. But the idea behind it is a cool one. It's instead of just being yet another vigilante or superhero out on the streets defending people and doing whatever, this is a guy who he's all taking care of people that are cruel to animals, and saving animals from bad situations. And it starts with him. He's already removed all the dogs from a place that does dog fighting while they're out on a drug run. So he sneaks in, gets the dogs out, and then torches the place. And he's got a crush on a girl who's a big activist, but he sees being protesting is a waste of time. He's like, every time you're out there protesting and going to jail, it's great. You've got principles, but you're not helping any of these animals being in jail. So he's like the Batman for abused dogs and whatever. If this was a movie, the theme song would be
Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah.
In the arms.
Exactly. All right, what we got left over?
A few things. G.I. Joe number 5, Fred Van Lente, and Steve Kurth doing the pencils. This is really good. This wraps up the first story arc about the town that was basically taken over by Cobra, but it's not really taken over. They kind of go along with it, and I don't know. It's a really good modern take on G.I. Joe. It has the good old. It's not the first G.I. Joe movie. It's like the G.I. Joe have their own personalities. Everyone's different. They have their code names. It's really cool, but it's really well done. Sometimes they try to throw a little too much modern lingo from you crazy interweb kids in the book, but it's well done. I like the art. The stories are good. It has the appeal of the old G.I. Joe toys and cartoons, so I really like it. It's well done.
I like the cover where Baroness looks like she's what was the villain from what the hell's that Disney show with the girl that was like a spy?
Kim Possible.
Thank you.
There you go.
I can never remember names of anything, but I've always got my behind the camera people. They had to film me in.
It's more IDW. X-Files number 1.
This was good.
X-Files.
This was really
Season
good.
10 number 1, and it continues right from the show, and it's co-written by Chris Carter and Joe Harris.
So
Joe Harris
good.
writes Great Pacific. That's awesome. This is really good. The art is kind of cool too, like you were talking about with
It's got
the
like that Sammy
Game of
style
Thrones.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
like you said, Game of Thrones. It's not really the photorealistic. It's
Oh yeah, it's like
Really good.
it's like a Samney kind of style,
Yeah.
but the characters look just like.
yeah.
It's not photorealistic, but they look just like them. Down to there are a couple panels in there where he's really got the way they stand.
Mm-hmm.
That right there. That's one of my favorite panels. It's just
And the faces are
Mulder
done well, the
standing,
expressions are done
hands
well.
on his hip. It just that's the way these characters stood and these actors standing. It's just
And this is my type
little
of X-Files.
gestures.
It's not a whole bunch of like flying saucer, alien abduction. At least so far, that's what it could turn out to be. But it's very creepy,
I'm
dark.
sure they'll have Monster of the Week issues, but for right now, it's mythology.
I like it. Star Wars, Darth Vader and the Ninth Assassin. This book is so good. I don't even read a lot of the Star Wars stuff. I like Star Wars in general, but I don't read a lot of it. This is awesome. Basically, someone is out for a very specific revenge against Darth Vader for their son getting killed, and so he gets all these assassins to come after him. And the Ninth Assassin is the only one left, and it's a lot of mysticism. There's basically a cult, the Headless Snake cult that can cloud the Force, so Darth Vader and the Emperor can't really use the Force to detect anything, so they're not able to tell when these ambushes and assassins are coming after them. They're getting blindsided a lot, and it's really good. Every issue is very different, coming out from different aspects of him being attacked by all these assassins, and it's a lot of the Royal Guard too, flying around with him, and it's just amazing. It's not just all pure sci-fi. It's a lot of like fantasy oriented stuff too, and you can see him force destroy dinosaurs and swing through jungles and find temples. Like, it's pretty fantastic. This book's-
Indiana Vader.
It is. It's awesome.
In the Temple of the Headless Serpent.
World War Z. Not a comic, but it's a movie coming out. It's by Max Brooks. It's really, really good. If you haven't read World War Z and you're a zombie fan, you really need to. It's one of the best zombie books ever written. He also has a book out this week called The Extinction Parade by Avatar, so you know there's no holds barred and lots of gore. This is a zombie book, but it's a little different. In this world, vampires exist, and they even go through some of the vampire tropes. There's a little classic Dracula, there's some Anne Rice, and there's some Twilight going on, and they talk about it. Vampires are very much in the forefront. They exist in the world, and there's zombies in the world also, but they've never really paid attention to the zombies. An outbreak happens, they kill them. They're slow, they're dumb, they can kill the zombies. It doesn't really matter to them. They don't really even think twice about them. But then they start to realize that the zombie outbreaks might be small at first and contained, but they're getting a little more frequent, and the zombies don't even know they're there. The vampires can come up to them, and the zombies just ignore them because they're not alive. They just ignore them, so they don't really pay attention to them. But they realize these zombies are slowly eliminating their food source.
That's a problem. It's more like so you tell me this is a story about vampires with zombie pest control. problems.
Kind of, yeah.
We've been spraying for zombies, but they're starting to get tougher and tougher for the pesticide. And our humans now have a funny aftertaste.
Raul Caceres is the artist, and Max Brooks. It's really good. I like this a lot. If you like World War Z, and you like Max Brooks' writing style, I think you'll dig it. It's really well done.
We should also quick warn you that Max Brooks has been on, in case you haven't seen it, Max Brooks has been on the internet several times saying that he saw the finished version of the movie based on his book, and he says, yeah, they read my book and they kept the name.
Yeah, I have no desire to see the movie, but the book is great.
So, book, awesome, movie, you decide.
And if you like Avatar in general, it's not quite as bad as some of the Avatar. And bad, I mean like gory, full of sex. It's not crossed by any means, but it is pretty gory.
It's up there.
Yeah, and it's good.
All
and
right.
last,
Saga, the trade with our cameraman in it.
Trade paperback number 2. If you buy this and read it,
Never gonna let it go.
you buy this and read it, you will be current.
Oh, yeah.
Saga.
And it's so
they're
good.
on hiatus right now. They're coming back in August.
I think so, yeah.
So you can buy this and read it, and you'll be currently
You'll be ready.
caught up on Saga
You'll
and be able to pick up the new issue in
The
August.
greatest sci-fi comic in comics right now, possibly ever.
$15,
So good.
$14.99. That's so good. So good. I had Dale Sorensen in there.
Yeah,
So
good.
good.
So good. This is so good.
It's amazing, and I'm probably going to reread it all just to get my fix.
Oh,
Because
I read mine this morning when I was finished with everything else. But yeah, it's so
And the
good.
first
And
one's
Fiona
only
Staples art.
The first trade's
so
only
gorgeous.
$10, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, go pick them up. $25. You'll not spend a better $25, I promise you. And Fiona Staples, her art is fantastic.
Gorgeous.
And have you reading Private Eye, his web-only book, his digital-only book?
I don't read anything on the internet because staring at the screen hurts my already messed up eyes.
It's Brian K. Vaughan and Marcos Martin. There's only 2 issues out. They
Photosynthesis.
never tell you when the book's coming out. They just tell you the day it's out. There's only 2 issues out so far.
Surprise!
You can go to their website, pay what you want. You can get it in any format. It's DRM free, so you can get it in CBR, CBZ, PDF, however you want to get it.
I have no idea what he just said.
And it's beautiful. Marcos Martin did art for Daredevil for a while, and he also worked with Brian K. Vaughan on the Doctor Strange The Oath miniseries, I believe. Really good stuff. Go check it out. I love Brian K. Vaughan.
All right, internet. If you're still here, you're a braver soul than I am.
I guess that's all we got.